One of our top stories this morning, two snowboarders were killed in separate weekend accidents in northwestern Montana. Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry says 22-year-old Connor Heidegger of Rollins died on Saturday when he intentionally jumped off a cliff while boarding out of bounds near a ski area near Lakeside. Curry says Heidegger and his friend had been snowboarding at Blacktail Mountain and were heading toward their vehicle when they spotted the cliff. Also Saturday, 28-year-old Scott Robert Hornstra of Alberta, Canada, died at Whitefish Mountain Resort after falling into a tree well, an area with little or no snow around a tree. Curry says Hornstra's friends reported him missing when he did not meet them at the bottom of a run. His body wasn't found until 2 o'clock on Sunday morning. It was a joint effort Saturday as Frenchtown Fire, Missoula Rural Fire, and a county road crew worked together to fight a structure fire near Frenchtown. Frenchtown Fire District spokesman Mel Holtz said the call initially came in about 7:40 on Saturday morning.
We got 6 Frenchtown apparatus on scene. We did request Missoula Rural with a water tender support as well. Got a single-family home that at 7:40 this morning we got paged to this structure fire.
Holtz said access to the home required help from Missoula County road crews.
Everybody got out safe. The roads were very treacherous this morning for crews coming in. Missoula County did help us out with a sand truck and a plow truck up here, which helped immensely because it's a rural area with quite a bit of snow, and it was pretty slick getting up here.
Holtz said the cause of the fire is still under investigation. No one was injured, but there was substantial damage to the upper floor of the home. Missoula County Attorney Kirsten Pabst spent the last part of 2017 tallying up the number of cases she and her staff have handled in the past year.
We filed a total number of new cases is at 1,767, which is slightly down from our number last year. But interestingly, our felony numbers are considerably higher than they were last year. So we're down in the misdemeanors, but 65 more felonies this year than we filed last year. When you put it all together, looks like every 12 hours someone in Missoula County commits a felony.
Pabst said there was a disturbing increase in other crimes as well.
When it comes to the dependency and neglect cases, however, we've reached record levels. We hit unprecedented numbers of child protective and child custody cases because of abuse or neglect, which is a disappointing trend that we don't see slowing down anytime soon.
On a positive note, Pabst said her office's Special Victims Unit continues to be the pace setter for the rest of the state.
Now we've got 4 really talented litigators that make up the prosecution part of the Special Victims Unit, but we also have a dedicated paralegal, an investigator, and some crime victim witness coordinators. So we've literally and figuratively written the book on best practices in prosecution of sex assault and special victims cases, and we're really proud of that work.
Pabst has launched her campaign for a second 4-year term as Missoula County Attorney. She appears every Friday on the KGVO Talkback Show to provide a weekly crime report. Montana's congressional delegation wants an independent investigation of the Food Safety and Inspection Service. The Montana Standard reports Senators Jon Tester and Steve Daines and Congressman Greg Gianforte all outlined their concerns about what they termed alleged misconduct within the agency in a jointly signed letter to the Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The delegation is seeking an investigation of the way the agency has treated Montana meat plants from the Inspector General's office. The Inspector General is tasked with promoting, quote, economy, efficiency, and integrity in U.S. Department of Agriculture programs and operations through the successful executions of audits, investigations, and reviews, end quote. Last summer's wildfires made for big headlines in the media, but the resulting destruction and smoke combined to keep out-of-state visitors away, and with them, millions of dollars in lost revenue. Director of the University of Montana Institute for Tourism and Recreation Research, Norman Dickerson, said the fires had a significant negative effect on tourism.
In terms of our non-resident visitation, those fires potentially made us lose up to 800,000 visitors to the state of Montana, equivalent to about $240 million in their spending around our state.
Nickerson was also surprised to discover how most of those who chose not to visit found out about the wildfires.
The majority of them were saying that they looked at air quality reports. So they obviously knew about the fire, and now they wanted to check what's that doing to the air quality. So there was that. A little bit of talking to friends and relatives that they have in the state, and I'm pretty sure that was a significant influence on their decision.
Nickerson said the information in her report is being passed on to other state officials who are closely involved with forest management.
This was a long fire season, and that's probably the scariest part of it is the climate scientists, the people who look at this stuff, are saying that this is going to be our future. So what can we do? That's the discussion that needs to take place. And I think there's good things that are occurring.
The report is available on the University of Montana website. Montana officials say federal tax cuts passed into law will deliver less of a blow to state revenue than they had expected. Montana Department of Revenue officials initially forecast $72 million a year loss as the result of the legislation. That's after the Montana legislature recently met to address a $227 million hole in the state's two-year budget. The outlook for state funding is improving, however. The Billings Gazette reports Montana State Revenue Director Mike Kaitis no longer expects to lose $24 million per year in federal royalty payments for at least a year. State officials now are forecasting a $46 million hit to the state funding in 2018. Tax cut supporters say the impact should be even less after people reinvest federal income tax savings back into the state. And the Montana Supreme Court says residents living within a southwestern Montana Superfund site can move forward with their efforts to get the Atlantic Richfield Company to pay for a better cleanup of arsenic left on their property after a century of copper smelting. Last Friday's ruling upholds decisions made by District Judge Catherine Bidegore in a lawsuit filed by about 100 residents from the Opportunity area back in 2008. The ruling sets the stage for a trial in state court. Our News Talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Patchy areas of fog this morning will give way to sunshine this afternoon. Daytime highs will top out in the mid-20s. An isolated flurry will be possible this evening. Otherwise, look for mostly cloudy skies, lows in the teens. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.